Okay, everybody, how are we doing? I hope we're doing well. It's a snowy day here in southeast Michigan. Is that right? Yep, southeast Michigan. Where are you, Gary? You're in Florida, right?
Oh, Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. What? I felt like why did I think you were in Florida at some point? Maybe in another life. Um, but how does it feel in Georgia today? What's the weather like?
Well, it's about 50 degrees. We had a cold spell coming through, although it was like 79 the other day. So we're kind of Georgia, we're kind of Florida Georgia-ish. We're kind of get
You're
Florida
on the
weather.
Florida Georgia line, as they say.
Yeah.
I just want to say that there's a familiar name in the attendees list today, and I want to say hello because I haven't said hello to her in so long. I just want to say hi to Chelsea Phillips. I miss you. Don't be a stranger. Love Chelsea. Just want to say hello. All right, so let's get started. My name is that the right Chelsea that I'm talking to? I just want to make sure. Yes, it is. Okay, good. I don't want some rando Chelsea Phillips to say, who's that weird dude saying hello to me? So let's get started. I'm Nick Baldwin, co-founder of Lab Coat Agents. I got Gary Prado here. Gary, you have a newer company that you're with now, but you were with what was the company beforehand that you were with?
Prospect Boss. We still have that company. And
Okay.
it still does really well. We just started a new company because of demand.
Okay, great. Well, demand is always a good thing. So today we're going to talk about outsourcing executive assistants, also known as virtual assistants. Executive assistants just sounds a lot better. So Gary's with Vitalis Outsourcing, and we're going to discuss strategies for leveraging executive assistants to streamline your operations and scale your business effectively. Now, everyone's talking a lot about teams, and you got to scale, and you got to grow a team, and this, that, and the other. And you know what? That might not be for everybody. You might just want to scale with some virtual help because once you get someone doing things like, you know, transaction coordination or whatever the paperwork things are that agents typically don't like doing, so they can get out there. It's usually very cost effective, and you can run a whole business just with outsourcing those types of jobs. So thanks for being here, Gary. Appreciate it. And Gary's been a long time supporter of Lab Coat, so we always appreciate
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Let's ask everyone. Let's ask the first question, Gary. How do you find a good quality virtual assistant? Like, what are some things that you should take into account when looking for something or someone to do that? Because there are a
Yeah.
lot of options out there, so it can be confusing.
Yeah. The biggest thing for finding virtual assistants, there's different platforms out there. And, there's a difference between finding virtual assistants. We say executive assistants on our side, but there's a difference between finding good ones and getting good ones. So everybody I'm sure on this webinar has been burned from a virtual assistant that didn't do stuff or wasn't accountable and things like that. So, they exaggerate their abilities. They just want to get a job. They're churning from job to job. Not everybody, but a lot of them just are making, trying to stay with a company a month, doing the least amount possible, and then moving on to another company. So, we've heard some horror stories, and that's why we started at Prospect Boss. We started Vitalis because everybody would ask us, who can we hire? And so what we do at Vitalis is different than anybody else. And so what we do is we go through, it's a 5-step vetting process. So they have to take an IQ test. They have to take an English comprehension. That test alone is 2 hours. They have to do a skill assessment test, a background check, and then they go through 2 interviews. So all of our virtual assistants or executive assistants speak incredibly good English. They have different qualifications. Our pool is quite large. So you have to have, no matter what source you go to, you have to have a vetting process, and we've perfected it. I'm going to give Kay a shout out. I think she's on this webinar. Kay's our director of operations at Vitalis. She worked for a large executive assistant firm, big company, and she put together our systems and processes. The vetting process is second to none. It takes us about 40 applicants to get one person. And so we only hire the top 1%. These people are ready to go. They're ready to be productive. And we have a contract with them. They have a laptop. We get them insurance. It is professionally done, and it's not like you hire somebody and don't know what's going on and so forth and so on. So there's tons of platforms to hire a virtual assistant. If you guys want advice on, we don't have time to get into all of it, but if you want advice on the vetting those virtual assistants, reach out to us and we'll help you try to find that good virtual assistant. Okay.
Love that. I love that. So, all right, what does the training and management look like for a real estate agent, like on their end, if they're
Yeah.
because you have to get through a few, like you mentioned, a few different interview sections, but then there's like, okay, can this can this virtual executive assistant do what this agent needs to do? How does an agent take that part on?
Yeah, so here's the biggest thing that we do that we've seen is they just don't have time for training and management. They're busy
No.
doing other things. Yeah, they don't. And so I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name any names, but we took on a client. We have a service that we do nothing but train and manage virtual assistants. That's it. That's the service. And we train them for you and we manage them for you. We had that client for 2 weeks. Our trainer was reviewing their systems processes. We found out that their virtual assistants weren't really doing what they said they were doing, and they we let that realtor know, and we showed them proof, and we found out that they weren't doing what they said they were going to do, and so that agent today actually fired and let those two virtual assistants go, and now they're looking to get them with us. So
Okay.
that's the big thing, training and management, Nick. You've got to have a structure. You have to have a bonus. They have to be incentivized. If they're punching a clock, they're going to punch a clock. And
Yeah.
so, you have to have a bonus structure. We don't call our virtual assistants who work for our company, we don't call them VAs. We call
Right.
them team members. They're our team.
Yes. Can I just say one thing before you continue? That's something I've noticed. You know, these people who you're working with, I mean, they're all the way across the globe. And so sometimes it can feel like that's what they're doing. They're just coming in and punching a clock. If you make them feel like they are on your team, like they come to work every day working for, Nick Baldwin team or whatever, um, and there are measures for success. And if you allow them to be bonused, you do allow them to be bonused then?
Yes.
Because some of these companies don't allow bonuses, or, so I think that that's really great that you do that because that can definitely increase productivity.
Yeah. There's a large coaching group that has, I'm not going to name names, but I shouldn't,
Oh,
but a
name
large.
all the names, Gary. Just spill it. Just
Okay,
kidding.
okay. Okay. Well, but
I'm
there's a large
joking.
large coaching group that just got several from us, and
Okay.
we're monitoring their KPIs, and they have certain KPIs to hit. And Mary, our trainer, is just making sure that they hit those KPIs. They're doing audits. They're sending reports weekly to that client. They're sending screenshots automatically to that client of when they've been to any other sites. You have to hold them accountable. There needs to be systems and processes, but you have to trust them. I mean, ultimately, you have to praise them, you have to encourage them, and you have to trust them. And so, that's what you have to do to get a team member, not a virtual assistant. Most real estate agents, you want a team member, not a VA.
Yeah,
So,
like we have, for lab coat agents, we have several I want to call them executive assistants now, um, that have been with lab coats for years, and I wouldn't even think of them as being virtual. You know what I mean? Because they
right.
do so much heavy lifting. It's kind of amazing. setting up our webinars, creating our editing our videos, creating our promotional images, sending out our newsletters. I mean, these are really heavy lifting type, um, type services, and there's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of agents are like, well, I can't afford it, I can't afford it. Um, if an agent can't afford to hire a virtual assistant for a task that can be delegated, what should they do?
Well, I get it. I understand. I'm just going to say this. Can you afford not to delegate it? And so I'm, go ahead. I want you to,
The
you were going to say,
the famous objection handler.
yeah.
Can you afford not to is the question.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's ways to delegate, and I'm going to go over those right now. So, delegation is the key to success and scaling. That is it. You have to work on to growing your business instead of working in your business. And
Right.
so, and so that's what delegation does. And so here's a couple things how what you can delegate for a real estate agent. Calendar management, CRM management, data entry, document prep, marketing, and social media management. By the way, if you're doing any of these right now, you need an executive assistant. Maybe not from us, but you need somebody. Um, Marketing, social media management, social media creation, email, online ads, lead generation. Everybody should be doing lead generation. Um,
Well,
Nurturing,
everything you do in your business is lead generation anyway.
right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of agents are like, well, I don't like that because they think prospecting means phone calls. And it doesn't necessarily mean phone calls. All of these things that you're
Right.
mentioning, marketing, that's lead generation too.
Yeah, absolutely. Some others, client communication, property research and transaction coordination. Those, if you're doing any of those, or you're dabbling in those, you need to stop. You need to
I mean,
stop.
not just that. What about like scheduling showings or setting up photographs or like, all of these things?
Yes.
I know for a fact that um there is a ceiling if you're doing it all yourself. For me, the ceiling was 10 million in volume. I could not do more than that until I got help. So that should just tell you something, you know?
Absolutely. You have to get help if you want to scale. I know, and I'm going to go over some things as far as mindset in just a little bit, but open house organization, you just mentioned it, client onboarding, before and after sales, document, file management, networking, and relationship building. All those can be done with an executive assistant. So if you're not doing those, you need to. It just, what we do is we have a delegation coach. You meet with one of our delegation coaches and you talk to them and you say, okay, what can we do to help you scale your business? And so we have a one-on-one meeting, went through an onboarding and learn to delegate that information. Now, the biggest thing, I'm going to jump ahead here real quick, in delegating, the biggest fear for delegating is fear. And that's the biggest thing, and control. Fear and control. If you're scared to let somebody take this task that you're doing because they might not do it right. They might not do it like you. You feel you're the best one that can do it. And if you can teach that via like tools like Loom, we use Loom a lot, Trainable, we use Trainable. If you can teach that through those tools, then you can delegate that. But you have to let go of that fear and control to get to move ahead.
Well, that's a good point. And another question I have, sidebar. A lot of these agents they use similar systems, right? They'll use Commission Sync or Follow Up Boss or Lines, that's whatever. Can someone find an executive assistant that is like, knowledgeable in those systems? Because sometimes you won't even have to train the virtual assistant or the executive assistant on the platform because they might already know how to use it.
And that's a great question. That's part of our pre-screening for us, our interview process. But we're not worried about that because we have a 1 week training period with our clients where we go through the systems and processes and train them. But it's not done then yet. We train them consistently on a weekly basis. So they're not going to be perfect at their job at week one, but they're going to get
Yeah.
better and better at it as they go. We're not the type of company where we get somebody and place somebody and then say, good luck, see you later, bye.
Yeah.
Right now, our company has 100% placement rate. Not one has
Oh, wow.
been right now.
Also you got to look at it as an opportunity for your business anyway, because you mentioned, you getting Loom. Loom is like $10 a month, if that. They might have a free version. And it just allows you to screen record and do all sorts of like cool tutorials and stuff. That's actually a good opportunity. Like if you have been neglecting doing that in the past and now you want to scale and you want to create 5 or 10 videos on like how you use your follow-up boss system, that could be a library of tutorials that you're now creating for a growing team. So if you do it once, you don't have to do it again,
Yeah, that's right. I mean, those are already there, but our trainers do a really good job. Those our executive assistants are going to know your systems and processes, and they're going to be a team member at day one. So that's what it's about.
So, yeah, let's talk about the mindset. So, do you think that the biggest problem is letting go, or is there another big mindset issue?
Well, we all want to control everything, whether we're hovering parents
Yeah.
or whatever. We started our businesses, team members, or we started these companies, and it's our baby, and we've done these things for the last 5 years or so, whatever that time frame is. And so we don't want to let go because it's comfortable for us. It's easy for us. We know what we're doing. And so we continue along that path. Let me just say this about mindset. What got you to 1 million is not going to get you to 10 million. You have to change things because you have to do
100%.
things differently because you got to that million, but things change. So you have to change that mindset and your systems and processes to scale and grow.
I mean, yeah, like you said, what got you to 1 million GCI is not going to get you 2 million GCI because you're going to have to, it's essentially double of what you're doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if you
Yeah.
got to do more of something and you're barely able to now scrape by to do one of those things. But yeah, for me, my big problem was letting go too. Like I became such a, you know, I was on a team, but I did a lot of things on my own on that team. Um, for certain reasons, not everything. But when you're used to doing it, yeah, you think nobody else can do it like you, and it's very nerve-wracking. And sometimes you just gotta let them do it and mess up, and then just, teach them how to not mess up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I think it's super important because a lot of the reasons why people don't hire or bring in executive assistants is because, oh, I don't have the time to train these people. I got to stop what I'm doing and train them, and that's gonna like slow my business down, which is normally it does if you don't have the right process or the person. You said you have what's the name of the person that does those things for you? You had a very
Delegation
good,
coach.
yeah, the delegation coach. I like that name. I had never heard of that said that way
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. So that delegation coach goes through everything and they kind of coach you along the way and on what things you need to do to be successful. So they're very good at it. So yeah, the delegation coach is incredibly important in our step process at Vitalis for sure.
Real quick, I just want to say if anyone on here, has any questions about whether you have uh certain things in your business that you want delegated, you want to find out if Vitalis or a company similar can do these things for you. What are you struggling with in your business currently? Drop that stuff in the chat. Let us know so we can kind of talk around that because we do have a few minutes left and we'll have time to answer those questions. Okay, so definitely sounds like delegation is the key. Um, what do you do if like there's an agent that, no matter what, it's like, I don't want to let go of that task. I don't want to let go of that. I'm the one that has to, make the showing arrangements or whatever. What do you say to that agent to like kind of get them to step back and see the bigger picture?
Yeah. So a couple of things. I'm going to go to one point on mindset and then go get to that. But this is
Okay, yeah, go
important.
ahead.
Yeah, you need to spend time thinking every day. Stop, turn off your phone, set an appointment. Don't let anybody come in for an hour a day. Think. on how you can scale and grow. We're getting involved in social media, emails, phone calls. You need to spend time when you hire a virtual assistant or executive assistant. You need to spend time thinking and shift what you're doing to now growing. So spend time thinking every day. But to answer your question, the first thing we took go through, this is our delegation checklist. Trust your team, focus on what only you can do. So trust your team, focus on only what you can do. If there is something truly that only you can do, then do it. Let go of perfectionism because it's not going to happen and it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Clarify expectations, build the culture of accountability, start small and build with confidence. Patience and support is crucial. Shift from I have to I get to.
That's
So
a good one.
shift from I have to I get to now, and understand the power of leverage. That's really the key is what we go through our checklist with those when our onboarding calls, that's what we focus on and give them tips and techniques on how to delegate these tasks. And it works. We have clients in the home services industry. And so we went to some shows and got some clients. These clients were overwhelmed business owners. They're, like pressure washing, repair, roofing, and they were just overwhelmed. And when you get the gift of delegation for your company, it's life changing.
Yeah, oh, 100%. I mean, I hear a lot of agents saying, a lot of agents, first of all, are terrible at making hires. Like, I should never, my wife would, because my wife and I had a team together, and she's like, you are never allowed to hire anybody. Because, like, you know, I like everybody, I want everyone to have an opportunity. And so, when you come from a place like that, it's like, you just want to hire everyone and give them a little piece of like what you have, but that's obviously not the right way to go about it. And that's why I'm not allowed to do that. And so uh, when you hire someone who's quote just like you, oh, I love this person. They're just like me. Well, if they're just like you, then they're gonna suck. They're still gonna suck at the stuff that you suck at.
Right.
So you're
Right.
hiring someone who's good at what you're already good at. Not going to get you anywhere. So just want to throw that in there. So there's a couple questions in the chat. They're good ones. Let me start with Chase.
Mhm.
Chase commented first, and then we'll get to or Noe. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Noe. But Chase says, how do you delegate when you provide custom service and a lot of the stuff isn't necessarily the same every time? For example, pictures. I order a different package depending on the listing. The picture timing depends on what the clients want, which involves communication with them. Okay, so I get this, right? Like I'm gonna make a comment real quick and then Gary will give it to you.
Yeah.
I often feel like agents, now Chase, this might not be the case for you, but it's been the case for many situations because I've coached a lot of agents. I often feel that agents feel that their clients need to hear from them and that everything needs to be done by them. It needs to have that personal touch. Your clients only feel that way because you set that expectation. But this is an opportunity for you to cut that expectation off for anyone going forward. Anyone in the past, continue it because that's what they expect. Anyone going forward doesn't know what not to expect. So if you set expectations, this is what happens. This is who will contact you. I'm always there for you if you need me, but this helps move the process along. This is so and so. Nice to meet you. Those are the expectations that you need to meet and set, and it doesn't make it any less personal. So, what do you think of that, Gary, in terms of what I said and what Chase is saying?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to tell you this is what I'm sorry, Chase, but this is a control issue. I'm sorry. I'm just calling you out. This is a control issue. You can delegate that task, just like Nick said. So you have to trust. If you want those items I said that I talked about as far as what to do, as far as delegation is concerned, you guys can reach out to us. We'll send everybody that. So it's going to help you start delegating. But Nick, what you said, yes, it's a control issue, and that can be easily be delegated. 100%.
Yeah, like your clients only expect it because that's what that's what you've told them to expect. But, they don't, all they want to know is that you have a plan in place. These are the people that are going to be in their life for the next 3 to 6 months and maybe shorter. And this is who you're going to hear from based on certain situations, but you're always there for them if they need you. So
Yep.
just a little piece of advice. So, all right. So the next question, my executive assistant already handles a lot, and I want to make sure they're fairly compensated while keeping my business efficient. Would it be smarter to increase their pay and possibly expand their role, or would it be better to hire a second assistant to help divide the workload? That's a really good question.
Okay, so here's my opinion. Did you have opinion, Nick, or you want me to go?
No, you can go ahead. I mean, I
All
do, but I don't want
right.
to take up the you tell us.
All right. Here's what I think. I always want optimum efficiency out of all team members. And so what I would do in that situation is I would give them a raise, but it would be based off of certain KPIs. So whatever those tasks are on a per week basis, give them a bonus based off of certain KPIs. You want to make sure they're fairly compensated. Make sure it's done that way. Don't pay them per hour or for salary for just for taking on additional roles or responsibility. Make it incentive, making them have an incentive to do more. Now, here's what I always say, and I tell this to Mary, our director of operations. I say, okay, our director of operations, I say, let's give more than they can do now and tell them that if they can't get that done, then let us know and we'll discuss it then. But give them those additional tasks. Don't hire anybody else now, but give them those additional tasks to see if they can handle it. You don't know what they're doing on a daily basis because you're probably not managing them like we manage ours. So they probably have room for that task to do, but just incentivize it. That's what you have to do. Don't give them per hour.
Who's dropping in the chat what a KPI means, in case some people don't know, because it can be a fancy word for us realtors. Um, but I just dropped it in the chat there. It's a key performance indicator. So basically, the definition is it's a quantifiable metric that measures how well a business is achieving its goals. So, like, you know, if you can set it on different you can have different milestones. So, like, a lot of it is obviously based around ROI, but if I spent this much money, if I spent my goal is to get to this many views on a video, this many leads on an ad. Okay, but that's a great goal. How are you going to get there? What's going to show you that it was profitable? These are all things that examples of KPI are like revenue, customer satisfaction, productivity, quality of work, goal attainment, time management, team collaboration. So all of those things are measurable. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
can you help? Because with someone who's not very organizational like myself would, and No says in the chat, that was a great answer. Thank you. Um, how can you guys help us with making sure we're sticking to those KPIs and hitting those? Because for me, my brain doesn't work like a spreadsheet. You know what I'm saying? So, how would you help an agent make sure that they're hitting those KPIs like they should be and keeping track of them?
Yeah. That's our training and management service. That's when we go through and have our client calls and our onboarding calls. We ask them for their systems and processes, and Mary does a fantastic job in our company by going through and finding what those are. We talk to the client. Find out what tasks they are, and then we set KPIs based off of those tasks. So, growth like Instagram growth. Let's just use that as an example. You want to grow your Instagram followers. Well, what are some tactics that you can do to grow your Instagram followers?
Yeah.
Well, we know those tactics. We're in that industry. We know how to do that. So we train our executive assistants on how to do that, and then they have to have a certain number of followers by a certain amount of time. And if they hit all of these numbers on a per week basis, they get a bonus or something like that. You have to incentivize it. That is the key to performance and scaling. You have to incentivize everything that you can in scaling your company.
I'm muted.
Oh,
Sorry. There's a lot of great information here. If you have any final thoughts or anyone in the chat, final thoughts, let us know. Drop them in the comments. Um, so, if someone is interested in seeking more information from you guys, how should they go about doing that?
yeah. Well, let me just tell you this. We have tons of great resources on our website. We have 100 real estate tasks you can delegate now. So that's a first step. Go there, go to our website. It's vitalisoutsourcing.com. And my email, by the way, is Gary at Vitalis Outsourcing. That's Vitalis, and then outsourcing. So then also we have a 2025 blueprint for success. That's a great a document that's going to set you and your business up for success on what to do, how to scale, things like that. So, the first thing you want to do is get some of these documents. And start looking them over, seeing what you can do, what you can't do. And if you want to just go through a delegation call with us, you don't have to purchase from us. It's okay. If you just want to have that call, we'll help you and guide you on what to do, tasks that you might do, or they might do, the executive assistants, and we'll just walk you through that process. There's no risk or obligation. We're just trying to help you scale and stop working in your business. Oh, Nick, you're muted again.
Sorry, I had it on mute because I was clicking around on the website. I didn't want to hear all those clickings. I'm just looking at the website. It's pretty competitive in terms of um pricing. $9 an hour
Yeah, so
for
$9 an hour is for our full service. That includes training and management. So, that's $9 an hour with training and management. We feel that's the best value. And that training and management is key. There's a lot of companies out there that place virtual assistants, but we actually train them to help them be team workers and not just VAs. And so, that's what we take pride in is our training.
What I also love is that you guys offer like a few different services. So like, if you're a solo agent and you're like, well, I don't have tons of work for full time, you can choose a 20-hour a week service or a
Yeah.
40-hour a week service. They're both the same price. It's just a matter of how much work you possibly have. And like if you've never used one before and you're not sure, I would say probably start with the 20-hour a week service, and you'll realize like, over time you're going to graduate to a much more you're going to graduate to a 40-hour a week service because there's only so much that can be accomplished. And someone did mention, should I hire a second, that was no in the chat. Should I hire a second virtual assistant? You're like, this is the same thing. Should I start with 20 or 40 hours a week? So start with 20. And once the work starts to bust at the seams, then you graduate to 40. It's still
Yeah.
only, it's still only pennies. I mean, 739 a month versus 14.95 a month for 40. I mean, do the math on that. I mean, that's like a quarter of a salary, if not less than a quarter of a salary of someone who's in house.
Yeah, and you're going to get a quality team member, not just a virtual assistant.
And also, where are your virtual assistants located for the most part?
Yeah. So we're, all of them are primarily based in the Philippines. Um,
Okay.
I'll let you know if anybody's worried about accents or anything like that, if they're going to be answering calls or whatever. All of we interviewed a guy the other day. He sounds like John Wayne. We only He has no accent, and we only hire the
Right.
top 1%, and they have to pass that English comprehension and speaking test. And if they don't, we don't hire them. So there's no accents with anybody. They just sound like you and I. And it's really quite
Yeah.
amazing.
I think that's awesome. And in the Philippines, they teach English really early on in school, so most of them speak it fluently.
Yep.
Also, this $9 an hour, people are going to be asking, how much of the $9 does the assistant make? Because people get nervous, right? And it's like the Philippines, this money goes a long way in the Philippines. Like you'll see some of these virtual assistants making $4 or $5 an hour, but like to us, that's not a lot of money. But in the Philippines, that's like a luxury lifestyle almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So how
yeah,
much
yeah.
of that $9 are they typically getting? Just because people will ask that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, out of the nine, they're making it depends on the position, by the way, and their experience.
For
So,
sure, for sure.
depending on their positions, if they're college educated and it's a transaction coordinator, they're going to make more of a position. We might have a
Okay.
dollar per spread. So we might make a dollar off of them. Oh, we also have a placement fee, by the way. So if you just want us to find you a good one and you pay them, you can pay us a placement fee,
Oh,
and then
wow, that's
I forgot
interesting.
about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we have a placement fee as well. I wanted to mention that. So the placement fee is anywhere based on the position is anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000. It's one time, and then we
And so
still.
what happens with that? What happens there? You find them some, what, tell me what happens there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we have that onboarding call with the client, find out exactly what they're looking for. Then we go through our vetting process. They have to go through all of our vetting, and then they go through 2 interviews with us. At that point, we will, if they pass all of our training, test taking training and vetting, then we will have a call with the client. They'll get to pick their top three. So all three executive assistants will be on a webinar. They'll get to ask them questions, interact with them. They will also, Kay, our director of operations, will be on that call, and she will kind of guide the way that webinar goes on good questions to ask. And then from that point, the client can pick that executive assistant, and then we onboard them, train them, and onboard them. And then you just have it going forward. You can pay them directly and keep them. So that's what that does.
I love that. That's awesome. And Gary, what's your email address? Gary at
Vitalis
Vital.
Outsourcing, VitalisOutsourcing.com, vitalisoutsourcing.com.
Oh, you. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. There we go. So I
Yeah, there
dropped
you
the
go.
website and your email address. You can go to the website. You can book a demo. There's, no, no obligation demo. If you want to
Yep.
talk to Gary, shoot him a message. We've known Gary for probably the better part of a decade in lab coat agents, so you can trust him. He's a good guy, so don't worry about that. And are there any LCA deals? Do we have one? I don't know if we had one.
We need to get one going. So I'll work on that with you and Tristan, okay?
Okay, so yeah, yeah, email Gary if you're interested, and if you want to know what the LCA deal is, we'll come up with one this week. So just let him know, shoot him a note, say, hey, keep me posted on when the deal will be announced, and we'll get one out to you guys by the end of the week. We'll come up with one. Um, but I love that it's affordable. Everyone should be delegating, and everyone should be, scaling. Everyone needs an assistant of some kind, so that goes without saying. Any final thoughts, Gary, before we hop off?
If you don't have an executive assistant, you are the executive assistant.
I love it. How's that sound to you guys? Lots of tough love today from Gary. So, he's a lot meaner than me. No, I'm kidding. So, anyway, appreciate you being on here. Again, reach out to Gary at vitalisoutsourcing.com. Go to vitalisoutsourcing.com website. And if you want to revisit this webinar, it'll be on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in Lab Coat Agents, give it a day or two, and you'll see it. Get subscribed to the YouTube channel so when it does get uploaded, you get notified so you can watch it again. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see everyone next time. Bye.